Dude, what are you doing? What do you got in your beard, my guy? Got a little bit of snow in there? Huh? Some ice chunks? Can I have some? Can I have some of that flavor? Ugh. That was not an ice chunk, my boy. Hey, what's going on? So, this one is for my younger self. Younger anyone, to be honest. Although, I haven't tested all of this stuff on females, so take it with a grain of salt, ladies, if you watch the full video. And consult with an actual doctor, not just some guy online that makes videos. Please, okay? So I'm gonna get a little bit deep on fasting. We're gonna get into it, why it actually is really good as a spiritual practice, as well as for your body. How it can actually improve your strength, how you aesthetically look, how you actually take care of your body, your overall health, your longevity, your joints, that sort of thing. And then on a deeper, more spiritual level, why I think it actually does more for you than any other type of diet. And I don't even like the word diet. I guess let's just use the word lifestyle. So in my experience, I'm 3 days fasted right now. Usually that is the extent that I will go on a fast, because any longer than that, I mean, there may be benefits to it, there may not be benefits to it, but they start to say that the muscle wasting hits after about 3 days. I have noticed this as well in the gym from my own experimentation. I have gone 3 days without lifting and been fine to go a fourth and a fifth. However, I started to notice that my body was really craving some food. The more muscle mass you have and the less your body fat percentage is, the more difficult it is going to be for you to go an extended duration unless you have enough blood glucose, like that glycogen that sits in your muscles, to push past like day 3. But for the most part, you don't need to fucking do that. You don't need to do that. And I'll tell you why. If your goal is to reduce your body fat, it is to reduce, I don't even want to say reduce, but you just body recomp yourself into exactly what you want to look like. It's very important to have some level of gratitude towards food, some level of gratitude towards your body being healthy. And when you take time away from food by not consuming any calories at all, it hits entirely different than when you go on one of those lifestyles where you're eating smaller calories throughout the entire day. You might be in a deficit overall, you might be in a small surplus, right? But food is always constant, okay? And from my perspective, I used to be a fat fuck. I was so fat when I was young. It was diabolical how fat I was. I mean, bro, I would spend at least $5 extra just on like the sides, like the sauces and stuff. I would get these calzones in college and get like ranch. I would get barbecue sauce. I'd get an extra cup of cheese. Like, what am I doing? I was the sauce whore. I was the boss of it all. The amount of additions all the time. Do you want extra cheese, sir? Fuck yes, I do. What type of question is that? Do I look like a commie? Do I look like I love myself? Give me the cheese! Yeah, okay. And it's because I was addicted to it. Everything in life is just dopamine. It's just dopamine. Food tastes good. Neurochemistry goes off in your brain. You take a bite and you're like, wow, damn, flavors, excited, and it's great. And then you want some more. And the more you eat, eventually you get something called diminishing returns, which is you have to eat more food now to get the same level of pleasure or enjoyment. So it's, it's one of those double-edged swords. Because food ultimately is awesome. It keeps us alive, at least for now. You know, maybe in the future we won't have to eat at all. We could just be breatharians. That would be so sick. However, I will still want to eat because it's delicious. But that's the beauty of fasting. That's why I like to do little resets where it's 3-day fast. It's not so much about the body fat percent change. Like if you go on the scale, I'm sure I'm down 10 pounds right now. And most of that is probably water weight. Because I believe it's 3 grams of water for every 1 gram of glycogen. That's sort of what the pairing rate is in the body. Don't quote me on the shit. Go look it up yourself. Okay? But if your body chews through all the glycogen and you're not replenishing it, so all that muscle energy, right, that just sits in there, and you're depleting it, and you don't have any, well, you're not going to be binding that much water as well. So you're going to lose a lot of water weight whenever you're deep on a fast, as well as whatever fat you burn through ketosis and just your basal metabolic rate, which is kind of like you're sitting, how many calories do you burn? If you're just sitting on your fucking ass, how many calories do you burn? Okay? And multiply that by 3 days. And if you want to add workouts while you go, add them. That's how much calorie expenditure you should have. Something like that. Not the point of the video, by the way. I think I've done one before, probably, on fasting and how you feel. But I want to talk about attachment, because I'm like where fitness meets spirituality in a sense. I don't know, I'm retarded. Like, you just have to go with it. Whatever the message is that you're getting from the other side, you just have to shut the fuck up and go with it. And mine is to just speak my mind. It's to talk about things that are interesting. And what I've noticed over my entire fasting journey, I've been doing it for almost a decade at this point, is that the further removed, the more detached I got from food, the more I was able to actually be myself. Because food, it's a great grounding tool. It lowers your vibe as you eat it because it's heavy, it's sustenance, it slows you down. But the longer you go without it, your vibe kind of just increases. It goes off the charts, and it keeps going until you finally, like, your body is going to shut down. Like, you need some type of sustenance. And so the next time you have that sustenance, you are so grateful for it because you've been without for days. And it's not a forced without. This is more so like the benefits outweigh the fact that you can't eat anything to a degree that it doesn't hamper your mood. I don't want people fasting for an extended period of time if they're gonna be like depressed about it. If that makes sense. Don't go full fucking retard and be like, I'm gonna give myself depression by starving myself. Don't do that. You still need the stuff, and it tastes fucking good, okay? I just want to decrease the attachment that all of humanity has to it. We don't need to be eating all the time. That's why people are overweight, because we eat all the time. And it's not so much the calories. This is the part that is gonna get people saying, this is a little crazy. But I'm not even sure calories necessarily exist. I get it. There's gonna be some science asshole that's like, well, the kilojoules actually, shut the fuck up. All right. I'm going from a belief system standpoint. I've seen too many people that are, whether they're mukbangers, they're competitive eaters, whatever it may be, that always seem to look the exact same way. And their body reflects what they are on the inside. And so those people, what I've noticed is they have a different attachment style to food than probably 99% plus of everyone else. Most people's attachment to food is that if you eat too much, this is a belief that is deep rooted in our culture. If you eat too much, you will get fat. Certain foods are bad for you. These beliefs. You can start to think of your own. Think about something that you enjoy eating. Pizza, hamburger, wings, ribs, barbecue pulled pork, sushi. Whatever it is, there is a first thought that you may have about, oh man, I love that food. You know what I would do? I'd put a glazing on it. I would make the sauce with a little bit of extra brown sugar, maybe some lemon in there. Who even knows, right? I'm just bullshitting at this point. And then that second thought comes. I always get these too. And the more often that I'm eating food, the more easily the second thought comes in. And it's always, oh, well, that's so many extra calories. Oh, you don't need to do that. It's out of fear. So, do we get fat because we eat too much, or do we get fat because the vibration that we're embodying while we're eating is low? So I'm gonna briefly go over this viewpoint, I guess, wherever the fuck we're going with this. So I like to imagine there's pools of life to everything. And so the energy that you put into life, the energy that you give to it, is sort of what you get back. Something similar. There's similar experiences that match emotions, that are potential realities that you can shift to. What keeps most people stuck in a reality that they don't want to be experiencing, especially when it comes to fitness, your body, being overweight, is because they keep regurgitating the same memories over and over again via the cyclical response, or I guess we should call it a reaction to their emotions. Why people have a difficult time losing weight is because they have a bad attachment to food in the first place. So every time they eat food, whether they want to admit it or not, they feel guilty. They feel shame attached to it, which is not fucking good. That is a lower emotion. And then you look in the mirror and you're still using your five senses. So you look at the version of yourself that you are right now, and that's how you grade how you should feel on the inside, is what you see in the world outside of you. Again, you're going to the external to decide how you should feel on the internal, which is the opposite way that life works. If you want to start losing weight, you need to start seeing yourself in the present moment, right now, which I get it, a little crazy, but it's not. How would you feel if you were in your desired perfect form? I'm being dead fucking ass. Dead serious. I know you're watching. I know you're questioning it. Get out a piece of paper. What would it be? How much would you weigh? Well, I guess maybe you if that's important to you, you can put that on there. Like if you're a power builder sort of guy like I am, I identify right now as being 220 pounds. That's how I identify right now. And just in the past 2 months, I've been able to increase my body weight by 25 pounds. I mean, that's kind of insane. And to do that while you're fasting, it makes no sense. And that's the entire point of this video, is that the world that we live in is a fucking illusion. It is not real. You get to decide how you want to look, what you get to eat, all this stuff. Okay? I wouldn't recommend going out and just blasting seed oils into your body. Like, but the guy said I'd have Doritos. I just want Doritos and chimichangas. Ah! Okay, with a grain of salt, you have to go through life, all right? You have to change for yourself, your own beliefs. You have to go into them and ask yourself the questions. Like, if you eat something delicious, how do you feel when you eat something delicious? You feel good, right? Okay, well, if you're doing something that feels good and it feels good in your heart, then your body should reflect that. I know I'm going everywhere, but that's kind of how I view the mukbangers and the competitive eaters, is that they love food. They love what they're doing. And so therefore, the calories don't really exist, okay? You receive the physique that is at the embodied level of frequency that you can get to. That's why a lot of people say health is wealth. Because the wealth of the soul is your ability, no matter what you're experiencing in your outside reality, the five senses, to be positive. And the more positive you are on the inside, it reflects that on the outside, whether it is your looks, whether it is your finances, whether it is your relationships, your connections, friends, family, random opportunities, things coming into your life, new passion projects, new work coming in that's like a hobby, because you never know. Like, you could run into somebody and the conversation you have just makes you see life entirely different. It makes you just change a little bit more grateful. And so that's really how we're going to tie this all together. Because taking days off from eating, it's not going to just destroy the fat right away. That's not how it works. It's not because you're burning X amount of calories, you're not eating anything, all this math and science bullshit. It's because you are resetting your attachment to something that has been harming you for a long time. That's why you're going to start losing weight the second you start implementing fasting. Because as you eat less, you are going to inherently be more grateful for the food that you do eat, because you're not getting it all the fucking time. That's the cheat code. It's not doing all this calorie counting bullshit, eating, super clean, right? Clean food. I've seen people eat the chicken, broccoli, and rice, and they end up offing themselves. You know why? Because it's a diet. It's not a lifestyle. It's not flavor. It's not real. You're just doing it for vanity's sake. You're not actually doing it for your own health. If you want to eat for your own health, you want to eat for your lifestyle, eat the foods that bring the most love and joy into your heart. What do you enjoy eating? And then just have that come to Jesus moment where you're like, maybe I don't need to be eating all the time. Like, I can have my pink drink. I can have that, but not every single day. Maybe I should shorten the amount of consumption that I have. I should start creating rather than consuming. Fasting is amazing for a lot of things. Weight loss is one of them. Purpose is one of them. The ability to quit an addiction is another one that I found it helps greatly with. Look, if you can stop eating food for 3 days, you can quit nicotine. You can quit smoking weed. You can quit drinking alcohol. Because all those other things are bad for you and food keeps you alive. So if you can give up the thing that actually keeps you alive for 3 days, believe me, you can get rid of the stuff that kills you. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to fucking get rid of all of it. Absolutely not. Your boy's a little bit of a degen sometimes. But everything within moderation. As long as you have a healthy attachment to it, I don't have an issue with it. The worst place you can be in life is doing stuff because you have an attachment to a specific outcome. Otherwise, you're going to have negative consequences emotionally. What do I mean by that? Going back to the chicken, broccoli, and rice. I've seen, and I've dated girls that were obsessed with their physique, like way too much. And so they would eat the same thing every day because it would keep them looking the exact same way. There was no change because they were scared of the change. They were scared of experiencing something new because they were attached to the outcome that they received when they saw the exact same thing in the mirror. But if you want more out of life, then it's about figuring out what you're supposed to be, who you're supposed to become, and embodying it. There's a version of you, like the version of me, that sure, could I be way more jacked and in shape and have all these other things if I were to eat certain foods in a different way? Maybe. Who knows? Maybe. I doubt it. But from my perspective, I wouldn't be me if I didn't enjoy eating ramen, if I didn't enjoy eating Indian food, like making curries at home, making noodles, making huge vats of chicken with chili paste, chili sauce, crushed red pepper all over it. You know, dice up some potatoes, throw them in there. Add a little bit of that curry mix. Oh my God, some coconut milk. Oh my God, some cheese. What would be the point of life? Seriously, what would be the point of life? There's a version of you that is stuck because you're trying to manipulate the external reality that you see outside of yourself right now via your eyes, judgmentally looking at your body, instead of just embodying the highest version of yourself, like the most loving version of yourself. And I'm just gonna be blunt here, probably eats far fewer meals, but eats way more flavor per meal. Okay? That's all I care about, guys. I love you. I'll catch you in the next one.